Good evening, little ones, and welcome to Big Stories for Big Ears. It's time to settle down and see if tonight's tales can fit in your cute little ears. As always, I've got some really big stories for you, and I'm not sure they'll fit in there. So let's stretch them out and make them bigger, just for a little while. Then we'll get to the stories. Take your hands and gently grab your earlobes. The earlobes are that soft part at the bottom of your ear. Now very slowly pull those little earlobes down towards your belly. Remember, be very gentle. Now move your fingers up a little bit and gently pull the middle part of your ears. Let's grab the very top of our ears and stretch them up towards the tops of our heads. Yes. Now back to the earlobes. Gently pull them down. That's right. Let's check if your ears are bigger now. Yeah. You did a good job. They need to get a little bit bigger still, so stretch that top part of your ears one more time. Do you feel that little fold on your ear? Go ahead and roll that out and run your fingers down the edge of the ear, stretching out each part as you go. There. Very good. I'm sure the stories will fit now. So let's get started. Settle in and enjoy tonight's tales. The first story tonight is titled Beanstalk Puppies. In a cozy apartment nestled on the top floor of a bustling city building, there lived a happy family. But the real stars of the household were four adorable puppies: Luna, Max, Bella, and Rocky. Their mommy, a gentle golden retriever named Daisy, watched over them with endless patience and love, while their human family doted on them endlessly. In the cozy apartment where Luna, Max, Bella, and Rocky were born, every moment was filled with love and warmth. Daisy, their gentle and nurturing mother, had created a sanctuary for her precious pups within the walls of their home. The puppies opened their eyes for the first time to a world of wonder and excitement. They blinked in the soft light filtering through the windows, their tiny noses twitching as they took in the scents of home. The comforting smell of their mother's fur, the enticing aroma of their human family's cooking drifting from the kitchen, and the faint hint of fresh flowers from the vase on the coffee table. As they grew, their home became their playground, a bustling hub of activity and adventure. The human family, delighted by their every move, showered them with affection and attention. They were surrounded by laughter, cuddles, and endless belly rubs. Days were spent chasing each other around the living room, their tiny paws patting across the carpet in a flurry of excitement. Evenings were filled with cozy cuddles beside the fireplace, where they could curl up together in a furry pile, their soft snores blending harmoniously with the crackle of the flames. Their home was filled with toys of every shape and size, from squeaky bones to fluffy stuffed animals. They could spend hours wrestling and playing tug-of-war, their tails wagging furiously as they reveled in each other's company. But amidst the laughter and joy, Daisy was always there, watching over her pups with a watchful eye and a heart full of love. She taught them important lessons about kindness, patience, and the importance of sticking together as a family. As the puppies grew older and more adventurous, their home became a place of endless possibilities, a launching pad for their wild imaginations and boundless energy. Each day brought new adventures and discoveries, but through it all, their home remained a safe haven, a place where they were loved, cherished, and always welcomed with open arms. One sunny afternoon, with their energy levels soaring and their curiosity piqued, Luna, Max, Bella, and Rocky found themselves in the midst of a particularly rowdy play session. Their human family, bustling about with chores and errands, had left the door to the apartment slightly ajar, a small oversight that would soon lead to an unforgettable adventure. In the midst of their play, Luna, ever the curious explorer, noticed the faint draft wafting through the crack in the door. With a playful bark, she bounded towards the opening, her siblings hot on her heels. With a nudge of her nose, Luna pushed the door open wider, revealing the tantalizing world beyond. Their hearts racing with excitement, the puppies hesitated for just a moment before darting through the doorway, their tails wagging furiously as they entered the hallway. The outside world beckoned with promises of new sights, smells, and adventures, and they couldn't resist the call. Bounding down the hallway with unbridled enthusiasm, the puppies soon found themselves at the staircase leading to the upper floors of the building. With a gleeful bark, Max took the lead, his siblings following closely behind as they raced upwards, their paws pounding against the stairs with infectious excitement. As they reached the top floor, the puppies found themselves faced with a new challenge. They had reached the door of the neighbor upstairs, Mr. Grumplesworth. He was notorious for his grumpy demeanor and his dislike of anything noisy or chaotic. But the puppies, oblivious to his reputation, pressed their paws against the door, eager to explore. With hearts pounding and tails wagging, the four puppies tumbled into Mr. Grumplesworth's apartment like a whirlwind of fur and excitement. Their little noses were twitching with excitement as they entered the kitchen, which was a veritable treasure trove of tantalizing smells and colorful sights, and the puppies wasted no time in exploring every nook and cranny. Max, always the bold leader of the pack, darted towards the countertop, his sharp puppy teeth sinking into a plump sausage left unattended on a plate. Luna followed suit, her tail wagging furiously as she snatched up another sausage in her jaws. Meanwhile, Bella and Rocky scampered around the kitchen, their playful antics sending pots and pans clattering to the floor. But despite the chaos they unleashed, the puppies moved with surprising stealth, their tiny paws barely making a sound as they raced across the linoleum floor. With each passing moment, their excitement grew, fueled by the delicious aroma of the sausages and the thrill of their daring escapade. But even as they indulged in their impromptu feast, they remained vigilant, their ears perked for any signs of approaching danger. And miraculously, their mischief went unnoticed, for the neighbor was nowhere to be seen, perhaps distracted by their commotion elsewhere in the apartment. With their bellies full and their spirits soaring, the puppies exchanged gleeful glances before darting off to continue their exploration, eager to see what other adventures awaited them in the mysterious realm of the neighbor's home. They ventured into the living room, where they were startled by the sight of Mr. Grumpleworth snoozing in a recliner. Startled by the sudden invasion, the grumpy neighbor got to his feet, his eyes widening in disbelief. "Out! Out, you pesky pups!" he roared, waving his arms in frustration. But the puppies, fueled by adrenaline and curiosity, dashed through the apartment with reckless abandon. They bounded over furniture, knocking over vases and sending books flying in their wake. Mr. Grumplesworth's protests fell on deaf ears as the puppies gleefully explored every nook and cranny of his meticulously organized apartment. But as the chaos reached its peak, Daisy, their loving mother, arrived on the scene, her eyes filled with concern. With a gentle bark, she called out to her adventurous offspring, her voice a calming presence amidst the mayhem. Sensing their mother's presence, the puppies hesitated for a moment before racing back to her side, their tails wagging with relief. With an apologetic glance at Mr. Grumplesworth, Daisy ushered her pups out of the apartment, her heart filled with gratitude for their safe return. As they returned to the safety of their own home, the puppies nestled against their mother's warm fur, their adventure leaving them exhausted but exhilarated. And though Mr. Grumplesworth may have grumbled and scowled, deep down even he couldn't help but smile at the antics of the mischievous quartet. For in their wild escapade they had brought a spark of joy and excitement into his otherwise solitary world. Wow, I'm glad those little pups made it back home to Mummy. Our next story is about a boy by the name of Kai. Once upon a time, in a bustling city nestled between towering mountains and shimmering seas, there lived a little boy named Kai. He had big dreams and an even bigger heart. But when his family moved to this new country, he found himself lost in a sea of unfamiliar words. At first, everything seemed daunting to Kai. The signs on the streets, the labels in the grocery store, and most of all, the conversations swirling around him in a language he couldn't comprehend. It was as if he had been dropped into a world where everyone spoke in a secret code he couldn't decipher. On Kai's first day at school, he found himself surrounded by a sea of unfamiliar faces. The playground was alive with the chatter of children, their voices blending into a cacophony of sound that Kai struggled to comprehend. As he watched the other kids playing together, a sense of trepidation crept over him. Approaching a group of children near the swings, Kai hesitated, unsure of how to join in their games. Their words flowed effortlessly in a language he couldn't understand, leaving him feeling like an outsider in his own schoolyard. As he attempted to introduce himself, the children exchanged puzzled glances, their brows furrowed in confusion. "Why doesn't he speak our language?" one of them whispered loudly, causing the others to giggle nervously. "I don't know. Maybe he's weird," another replied, shrugging their shoulders. The words stung Kai like a slap in the face, his cheeks burning with embarrassment. He had hoped to make friends on his first day, but instead he found himself ostracized by the very children he longed to connect with. As the day wore on, Kai's loneliness grew, each rejection cutting deeper than the last. The other children formed tight-knit circles, their laughter echoing in the distance as Kai stood on the sidelines, longing to join in but feeling too out of place to try. By the time the final bell rang, signaling the end of the school day, Kai's spirits were at an all-time low. As he trudged home, his footsteps heavy with disappointment, he couldn't shake the feeling of being an outsider in this new world. But amidst the darkness, a glimmer of hope flickered within Kai's heart. He knew that tomorrow was a new day, filled with endless possibilities. And though the road ahead might be difficult, he refused to give up on his dream of finding acceptance and belonging in this strange and unfamiliar land. Around the dinner table, Kai's family shared stories of their day, laughter filling the air as they recounted their adventures. Here, Kai felt a sense of belonging that he had struggled to find at school. Though he cherished his time with his family, he couldn't help but feel a pang of longing for the friendships he had yet to forge in this new country. With a pocket-sized dictionary in hand the next day, he set out to conquer this new language, one word at a time. He listened intently to the sounds around him, repeating unfamiliar phrases under his breath until they became familiar. Day by day, his vocabulary grew, and so did his confidence. As he learned more words, Kai discovered the joy of connecting with others. He stumbled through awkward conversations with his classmates, but their laughter and patience encouraged him to keep trying. Slowly, but surely, he made friends who saw beyond his struggles with language to the spark of creativity and kindness within him. As the days turned into weeks, Kai found himself straddling two worlds. One at home, where he spoke his mother tongue and celebrated the traditions of his culture, and another at school where he navigated the complexities of a language and customs that were foreign to him. Yet amidst the challenges, Kai discovered a resilience within himself, a determination to bridge the gap between these two worlds and forge connections that transcended language and culture. And though the journey ahead was uncertain, Kai faced it with courage and hope, knowing that with time and perseverance, he would find his place in this new world. With each new friend, Kai's world expanded. He learned about different customs, traditions, and perspectives, soaking up knowledge like a sponge. His experiences were a colorful tapestry woven from threads of various cultures, each one adding richness and depth to his understanding of the world. And before long, Kai found himself not just speaking the language fluently, but playing with it, bending and twisting words like a master craftsman. As Kai grew, he navigated the delicate balance between two worlds with grace and determination. At school, he continued to immerse himself in the language and customs of his new country, eagerly soaking up every word and expression like a sponge. With each passing day, his confidence grew and he found himself forging deeper connections with his classmates, bridging the gap between their cultures through shared experiences and laughter. But it was at home where Kai's true passion flourished. Surrounded by the warmth and familiarity of his family, he poured his heart and soul into his writing, crafting stories that reflected the rich tapestry of his dual identity. Drawing inspiration from the legends and myths of his native land, as well as the everyday adventures of his life in his new home, Kai wove tales that captured the imaginations of readers far and wide. With each story he wrote, Kai honed his craft, experimenting with language and form in a way that only someone with a foot in two worlds could. His unique perspective allowed him to play with words in ways that delighted and enchanted his audience, weaving together threads of different languages and cultures to create something truly magical. As he entered his teenage years, Kai's talent began to attract attention. His stories appeared in local newspapers and literary magazines, earning him praise for his lyrical prose and vivid imagination. But amidst the accolades, Kai remained grounded, never forgetting the lessons he had learned about the power of kindness and acceptance. With the support of his family and friends, Kai pursued his passion for writing with unwavering determination. He devoured books from around the world, drawing inspiration from authors both familiar and foreign, and honing his skills with each page he wrote. As he stepped into adulthood, Kai's dreams began to take flight. Armed with a pen and a boundless imagination, he embarked on a journey to share his stories with the world, bridging the gap between cultures one word at a time. And though the road ahead was filled with twists and turns, Kai faced it with a smile, knowing that he carried within him the wisdom and resilience of a boy who had dared to dream big and embrace the beauty of two worlds. His stories were filled with characters who leaped off the page, speaking in a melodic blend of languages that reflected Kai's own journey of discovery. From ancient myths to modern adventures, each tale carried a message of acceptance, friendship, and the beauty of embracing diversity. As Kai grew older, his stories gained acclaim far and wide. He became a celebrated writer, beloved by children and adults alike for his ability to transport readers to magical worlds where anything was possible. But amidst the fame and success, Kai remained humble, grateful for the journey that had brought him to where he was today. For Kai knew that his greatest gift wasn't just the words he wrote, but the journey he had taken to find them. And though he had traveled far from the little boy who had struggled with a new language, he carried with him always the lessons learned along the way, that with determination, kindness, and an open heart, anything is possible. Aren't you proud of Kai? I sure am. Our final tale tonight is titled Ents Saving the River. In the heart of the ancient forest stood the Ents, towering guardians of the woodland realm. Their forms were like living trees with bark-covered skin and limbs that stretched skyward like gnarled branches. Deep within their eyes gleamed the wisdom of ages past, and their movements were as deliberate and slow as the flow of time itself. Each Ent possessed a unique appearance, some adorned with thick foliage resembling crowns atop their heads, while others bore the weathered look of ancient oaks. Despite their imposing stature, they exuded a sense of peace and serenity, deeply connected to the rhythms of the forest. Ents spoke in a language all their own known as Entish, a slow and deliberate tongue that mirrored their patient nature. Through this language, they communicated not only with each other, but also with the very essence of the forest itself. As guardians of the woodland, the Ents were entrusted with the task of protecting their home from harm. Their presence was a testament to the enduring strength of nature, their roots intertwined with the earth, their voices echoing through the rustling leaves and swaying branches. In times of need, the Ents would gather together beneath the ancient trees, their voices rising in a chorus of wisdom and determination. For they knew that as long as they stood united, they could overcome any challenge that threatened the balance of the forest and the world beyond. For centuries, the Ents thrived in harmony with their surroundings, their language spoken in whispers through the rustling leaves and the creaking branches. Through the intricate network of roots that crisscrossed the forest floor, the Ents communicated with a silent language all their own. Like whispers in the earth, their thoughts and feelings flowed through the soil, connecting them to each other and to the heart of the forest. Each root was a conduit of knowledge and understanding, carrying messages and insights over vast distances. When one Ent sensed a disturbance in the forest, they would send a signal through their roots, a subtle pulse that reverberated through the earth. As the message traveled, it would be picked up by other Ents, their roots tingling with the faint echoes of their kin's thoughts. Like a communal consciousness, the Ents would share their observations and concerns, pooling their collective wisdom to decipher the mysteries of the forest. Through this silent dialogue, the Ents remained ever vigilant, alert to the slightest changes in their surroundings. Whether it be the subtle shift of the wind or the distant rumble of thunder, they were attuned to the rhythms of the natural world, ready to act as stewards and protectors of their beloved home. Once the land of the Ents thrived in verdant abundance, a lush tapestry of greenery, nourished by the life-giving waters of the great river that flowed through their forest home. The canopy overhead was a dense mosaic of vibrant leaves dappling the forest floor with shifting patterns of sunlight. The air was alive with the hum of insects and the song of birds, while the earth beneath their roots teemed with vitality. But as the seasons wore on, a subtle change began to take hold. The once mighty river, which had long been the life-blood of the forest, slowed to a mere trickle, its waters diminishing with each passing day. Where there had once been a rushing torrent, there now lay only dry riverbeds and parched earth. The effects of the dwindling river were felt throughout the land. The once lush foliage began to wither and fade, leaving behind a landscape marred by brown and wilted leaves. The creatures of the forest, from the smallest insects to the mightiest beast, struggled to find sustenance in the face of dwindling resources. For the Ents, who drew their strength and vitality from the rhythms of the natural world, the decline of the river was a dire portent. Without its life-giving waters, their home would soon become uninhabitable, unable to sustain the population that had flourished within its borders for countless generations. As they gathered beneath the ancient trees to discuss the plight that beset them, the Ents felt the weight of their responsibility pressing down upon them. The survival of their forest home depended on their ability to uncover the cause of the river's decline and to take action before it was too late. The Ents felt the strain, their roots thirsting for the life-giving sustenance that had sustained them for eons. Gathering together in a circle beneath the boughs of the oldest tree, the Ents convened to discuss the plight that beset their home. Their voices resonated through the forest, slow and deliberate, as they pondered the cause of the river's decline. Through their interconnected roots, they reached out, seeking answers from every corner of the forest. They felt the whispers of the earth, the murmurs of the creatures that dwelled within, and the sighs of the wind as it passed through the branches. In their quest to uncover the cause of the river's decline, the Ents embarked on a journey of discovery, their movements slow and deliberate as they traversed the length and breadth of their forest home. Drawing upon the ancient wisdom that resided within their collective consciousness, they searched for signs and clues that might lead them to the source of the blockage. As they wandered through the shadowed depths of the forest, the Ents observed the subtle changes in their surroundings, attuned to the rhythms of the natural world. They listened to the whispers of the wind as it rustled through the leaves, felt the vibrations of the earth beneath their roots, and watched the play of light and shadow upon the forest floor. Guided by their instinct and intuition, the Ents followed the course of the river, tracing its path from its source high in the mountains to the point where it disappeared beneath the earth. The path took them through many obstacles. Most difficult of all were the ravines. The Ents approached the treacherous ravines with a measured sense of caution, their slow and deliberate movements betraying a deep respect for the dangers that lay ahead. Each crevice yawned wide before them, its jagged edges obscured by the tangled undergrowth that clung to its sides. With their massive forms towering over the landscape, the Ents surveyed the chasm before them, their ancient eyes scanning the depths below. They knew that crossing the ravines would require careful planning and coordination, for even the slightest misstep could spell disaster. Pooling their collective wisdom, the Ents devised a plan to traverse the ravines safely. They sought out sturdy branches and fallen trees, fashioning them into makeshift bridges that spanned the gaping chasms. With painstaking precision, they secured the makeshift structures in place, anchoring them to the solid ground on either side of the ravines. Slowly and methodically, the Ents began to cross the bridges, their massive forms moving with a grace that belied their immense size. Each step was taken with utmost care, their heavy footfalls echoing through the forest as they made their way across the precarious spans. As they reached the other side, the Ents breathed a collective sigh of relief, their faces bathed in the warm light of the sun. Though the journey had been perilous, they had succeeded in overcoming the obstacles that stood in their path, drawing ever closer to uncovering the mystery of the river's decline. After conquering the most difficult part of their expedition, the Ents paused to rest amidst the sheltering embrace of the ancient trees, their massive forms sinking slowly to the forest floor. With limbs like gnarled branches and bark-covered skin weathered by centuries of existence, they settled into a state of quiet repose, their breathing slow and measured. Surrounded by the murmuring chorus of the forest, the Ents found solace in the gentle rustle of leaves and the soft sighs of the wind. Some leaned against the sturdy trunks of the trees, their rough skin blending seamlessly with the bark, while others reclined upon the moss-covered earth, their limbs sprawled out in relaxation. As they rested, the Ents exchanged stories and shared memories, their voices rising in a slow and deliberate cadence. They spoke of ages long past, of forests teeming with life and rivers flowing freely. The words a testament to the enduring bond that united them as guardians of the woodland realm. In the dappled light of the forest canopy, the Ents found respite from the rigors of their journey, their minds drifting into a state of quiet contemplation. They savored the fleeting moments of peace, knowing that soon they would once again be called upon to continue their quest to restore balance to their beloved home. And as the shadows lengthened and the stars began to twinkle overhead, the Ents stirred from their rest, their movements slow and deliberate as they prepared to resume their journey. For though the road ahead was fraught with challenges, they knew that with patience and perseverance, they would prevail in their quest to uncover the secrets of the forest and ensure its survival for generations to come. The next day, now with renewed determination, the Ents pressed onward, their spirits lifted by the knowledge that they were one step closer to restoring balance to their beloved forest home. And as they disappeared into the depths of the woodland, the echoes of their slow and deliberate footsteps lingered in the air. At last, as they reached the heart of the forest, the Ents stumbled upon a hidden cavern nestled deep within the earth. There they found the source of the river, its waters choked by a tangled mass of roots that had grown unchecked over the years, blocking the flow of water and strangling the life from the land. With a solemn resolve, the Ents set to work, their massive forms bending and twisting as they laboriously cleared away the obstruction. Day turned to night, and night to day, as the Ents toiled tirelessly, their movements steady and sure. With each passing moment, the river began to stir. Working together in perfect harmony, they pulled and tugged at the stubborn roots, their movements slow but sure, until at last the final root was removed, and with a thunderous roar, the river burst forth from the cavern, its waters cascading down the rocky slopes with newfound vigor. As the waters surged forth from the cavern, washing away the last traces of the blockage, the Ents stood tall amidst the rushing torrent, their faces bathed in the spray. For in that moment they knew that they had fulfilled their sacred duty as guardians of the forest, ensuring the survival of their home for generations to come. After a successful mission, the Ents embarked on their slow walk home, their massive forms moving with a sense of quiet satisfaction. Each step was deliberate, the rhythm of their movements echoing the unhurried pulse of the forest itself. As they made their way through the dappled shadows of the woodland, the Ents exchanged contented murmurs, their voices blending with the rustle of leaves and the gentle sigh of the wind. They reveled in the knowledge that they had fulfilled their sacred duty as guardians of the forest, restoring balance to their beloved home with their own hands. Along the way, they paused to admire the beauty of their surroundings, the vibrant hues of the foliage, and the delicate tracery of sunlight filtering through the branches above. They drank deeply of the sweet scent of wildflowers and listened to the joyful chorus of birdsong that filled the air. With each passing moment, the forest seemed to come alive around them. The very essence of the woodland realm rejoicing in their triumph. Creatures great and small emerged from their hiding places to greet the returning heroes, their eyes shining with gratitude and respect. And as they neared the heart of the forest, the Ents felt a sense of peace settle over them like a comforting blanket. Their spirits buoyed by the knowledge that they had protected their home from harm. With every slow and measured step, they drew closer to the sheltering embrace of the ancient trees, their journey nearing its end, but their bond with the forest enduring for eternity. As the Ents' colossal feet made contact with the soft moss carpeting the forest floor, a sensation of profound tranquility washed over them. The velvety texture of the moss yielded gently beneath their weight, cradling their enormous strides with a sense of natural cushioning. With each step, the Ents felt the cool embrace of the moss between their rough toes, a soothing sensation that reverberated through their entire beings. It was as though the forest itself reached out to welcome them, offering its silent approval of their job well done. The scent of damp earth and decaying leaves mingled with the faint fragrance of the moss, filling the air with the unmistakable perfume of the forest. It was a scent that spoke of ages past, of ancient trees and hidden glades, and of the timeless bond that united the Ents with their woodland home. As they walked, the Ents savored the sensation of connection with the earth beneath their feet. Their movements slow and deliberate, in perfect harmony with the rhythms of the natural world. With each step, they felt a sense of grounding and belonging, as though they were an integral part of the forest itself. And as they journeyed onward, the soft caress of the moss beneath their feet served as a reminder of the delicate balance that existed between all living things, a balance that the Ents had sworn to protect with every fiber of their being. As the sun set on the horizon, casting golden rays through the forest canopy, the Ents gathered once more beneath the ancient tree. Their voices rose in a chorus of gratitude, their hearts filled with joy at the restoration of their home. A sense of profound exhaustion mingled with overwhelming contentment settled over them. Their massive forms eased down amidst the ancient trees, finding solace in the familiar embrace of their woodland sanctuary. Despite their weariness, a deep sense of satisfaction filled their hearts, held up by the knowledge that they had succeeded in their mission to restore balance to their beloved forest. They exchanged quiet murmurs of fulfillment, their voices blending harmoniously with the rustle of leaves and the soft sigh of the wind. Gazing out across the expanse of their woodland domain, the Ents felt a profound connection to the land that surrounded them. Their roots entwined with the very essence of the forest itself, they reveled in the beauty of their surroundings, the vibrant hues of the foliage slowly turning golden in the rays of the setting sun. As they settled into a state of peaceful rest, the weariness of their journey began to melt away, replaced by a sense of profound gratitude for the privilege of protecting their home. They knew that their work was far from over, but in that moment, they allowed themselves to bask in the simple joy of returning to the sanctuary of their forest haven. And as the sun dipped below the horizon, casting a warm glow across the treetops, the Ents closed their eyes, their tired but happy hearts filled with a sense of deep fulfillment. For in that moment, they knew that they had fulfilled their sacred duty as guardians of the forest, ensuring its survival for generations to come. The Ents found themselves enveloped in a cocoon of tranquil stillness. With a collective sigh of contentment, they allowed the weariness of their journey to wash over them like a gentle tide surrendering to the embrace of sleep. One by one, their massive forms settled into the moss-covered earth, their limbs sprawling out in a gesture of surrender to the natural world. The rhythmic chorus of their breathing echoed through the forest, a slow and steady cadence that mirrored the pulse of the land itself. Beneath the shimmering canopy of leaves, the Ents lay in peaceful repose, their rough bark skin bathed in the soft glow of moonlight filtering through the branches above. As the night deepened, the sounds of the forest faded into the background, replaced by the hushed symphony of the woodland realm at rest. The rustle of leaves, the gentle whisper of the wind, and the occasional chirp of a nocturnal creature served as a lullaby, lulling the Ents into a state of profound serenity. And as the last traces of consciousness slipped away, the Ents succumbed to the embrace of sleep, their minds drifting into a realm of dreams and visions. In that moment of peace, they were united not only with each other, but with the very spirit of the forest itself, their roots entwined with the earth, their spirits soaring among the branches as they surrendered to the timeless embrace of slumber. Good night, little ones. Sweet dreams.